Should be on. Weird. It should be on. Oh, I need to turn this on. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to the No Spring Chicken podcast with April Walterscheid. So happy to be here. Sorry I'm not filming outside today. I was gonna film on my balcony, but I have some exciting news. No one lives in my apartment, so I can do whatever the F I want. I can be inside. The whole reason I was doing all of the episodes for season 2 outside was because it was summer and I wanted to see my phone die repeatedly from the sun, heat, and because I just didn't feel safe being in this apartment. But now both roommates were evicted. So I'm alone here, and it's nice. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, it's so peaceful. It's so like what I wanted. That was one of the things I manifested, was living alone again. And I'm gonna be living alone for at least probably 2 weeks, maybe a month. We'll see. But before we get into that, that's the whole episode. We're gonna be talking about the roommates because that's what I've been avoiding the whole season, was talking about them. But now I can, and the timing worked out perfect to be able to do this. But for now, let's do the boba pop. I know, like, I've been waiting an hour or two to like drink my boba that I bought. I have the Thai matcha boba. It's probably melting, but notice the colors. It's the color of Life of a Showgirl by Taylor Swift. I specifically had butterfly pea blue added to the matcha, and I had the Thai tea, and they layer it so nicely that it was the closest thing I could think to get, like off the top of my head, that would be close to the showgirl colors. I will also show you really quick that a lot of my stuff is already showgirl colors, and it's like my favorite color. This one, my favorite color. And this is my cell phone case. For my microphone, I can't have a cell phone case on with the microphone device that connects to this. But there's like, if you notice from season 1, I have this thing by Charlotte Vale in my room. That piece, already showgirl colors. I've had that since 2014. And a lot of stuff I have is just showgirl colors. And I think that's so great and cool. And I think the Showgirl album is more rock, like 70s rock and like modern 70s rock, and I really like it. I like how, like, it's kind of like Pixies meets Stevie Nicks. It's great. Anyways, that's Taylor Swift. Sorry. I'm not even a Swiftie. I kind of am, but I just have been getting into it. It's been hard to come back from the Tortured Poets Society era and the vault tracks from the 1989. I've been having trouble coming back from that to transition into this one. But I just want to say, already doing showgirl colors, it's my favorite thing. Maybe it's because I'm from Arizona, I don't know. But I already have a lot of things that are the colors of her album. So anyways, yeah, let's do the boba pop. Let's do it right now. I'm gonna put my microphone down, but I will count out a countdown for it. So get your bobas ready. Oh, and the straw is also orange from where I get my boba. I got my boba from It's Boba Time in Los Angeles. It's a chain. So here we go. Okay, I'm gonna count it out. Ready? I hope the microphone's picking it up. Okay, right into the bear's mouth. Right in, trying to get it to focus. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, now we can officially start this podcast. Let me mix mine up for a little bit. Because it's layered, so I need to kind of mix it now. It's gonna turn into like the ugliest green. Driving here, I preserved the layering as much as I could. I put it in my car, like, I made sure to put like a scrunchie in the cup holder so that the boba doesn't shake too much when I'm driving. I'm trying to preserve the layering. I got red bean on the bottom. It's so good. Okay. So I have an outline for this podcast because this podcast might go an hour. I don't know. But I want to give myself time not to rush through the roommate stuff. I will have to kind of summarize the roommate stuff a little bit because there's just so much. Okay, so we covered that intro, Boba Pop. Oh, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. This channel, yes, click subscribe. That would mean so much to me. And I want to mention at the beginning of my podcast that I have a comedy show. If you're in LA, I have a comedy show on October 19th at Comedy Chateau. The tickets are free if you use April, all capital letters at checkout. And then I have a show, Tribal Cafe. It's a free show, October 22nd. I just want to mention at the top in case you don't make it to the end, but hopefully you do. This is gonna be a juicy episode. So what's been new with me? Okay, really quick. I just got back from LA a few days ago and I spent one of those days with my niece and her friends. They're like 7 and they did a spa day for me and it was so nice. They dumped glitter in my hair, pink glitter. They colored my hair blue and red, so I had blue hair for a few days with these like combs that have color in them. And they painted my toenails. It was really nice. It felt like if you've seen my bubbly commercial on my YouTube channel, I was in a bubbly commercial. I was pretending to be a mom. I auditioned for like all 4 parts or 5 parts in that commercial, but they had me be like the mom who's getting a spa day where like her kids are putting laundry detergent in the tub as like the bubble bath. And I got Nutella on my arm. There's a kid just putting tons of Nutella on me. I got like peanut butter as a face mask. My niece and her friends doing a spa day on me reminded me of that commercial. I felt like I was reliving that commercial. The Bubbly commercial, if you go to Bubbly's YouTube, it's on there. It's a Mother's Day commercial. If you go to my channel, don't do it now, but after the podcast, I do have a short posted around May. Yeah, about May 2025. I have it posted, the Bubbly commercial. Maybe I'll link it on the bottom of this. Maybe I'll link it on this video, on the description area. I have allergies too, like I have dust in my lungs lately. So if I cough, I apologize. So I officially live alone right now. And I did go over how like since April 2025, in my mind, I kept saying, in the midst of all these roommates being here, with my main roommate being in Utah working, and that's why there's like random roommates here. He works for a few months and then he works for about 8 months and then has like some temporary roommates come in. But while these temporary roommates were here, I just kept saying in my head, I live alone, I live alone, I live alone. And look, just by default, just by happenstance, I live alone right now. It's great. I'm gonna enjoy the F out of it as much as possible. So my roommates were weird in April, by the way, but they got weirder in July. If it was like a little, like it was like, my roommates in April, in 2025, they're like this. July, it skyrocketed up to the screen here. It just exploded. I want to go over how I came up with the title for this podcast. You guys helped me. So episode 1 of season 2 is the avoidance episode, and that's where I'm avoiding talking about my roommates by coming up with like different topics for each episode this season, just to avoid talking about them because I didn't want to. I'll tell you why. But for this episode, I was kind of playing with like 3 titles that are like opposite of avoidance. So I got the title choices that you guys could vote for on my Instagram were the unavoidance episode, the confrontation episode, and the acceptance episode. And all of these things, confrontation, acceptance, I think those are hard for us as humans to like accept. Like it's hard to accept ourselves, like the flaws that we have and like how we are, and like if we cause other people problems, cause ourselves problems, it's hard to accept that we're wrong, that we repeatedly make bad choices sometimes. It's hard to accept that. So I thought about doing the acceptance episode as a title, but I put out the vote on my Instagram, and with 75% of the votes, the title, the Confrontation episode, was born. So the Confrontation episode title won. My choice was unavoidance at first and then acceptance, because I wanted the title to be more therapeutic sounding. Acceptance is like a type of therapy, acceptance therapy. It's called ACT. Yeah. But I want to thank the people who voted. It was Jose, Roy, and Cameron who voted for the Confrontation episode. So thank you for voting. And then Deja, thank you for voting for the acceptance episode, because I agree with you because of the therapeutic aspect of like the Zen. It's such a like breath of fresh air and Zen-ness to like have an episode called the acceptance episode. I'm all about like bringing peace to things, so that's I don't really like chaotic because of the roommates. I mean, they were chaotic and I don't like that energy. So why did I avoid talking about my roommates for 8 episodes of my podcast this season? I avoided talking about my roommates. Well, I didn't want my whole season to be about the roommates. They were already taking over my mind. I was worried. I was living in fear. It was like all I thought about, just like running it, you just run through things in your head. Like, why is this happening? You're trying to I became obsessed with like what was going on with them and like, what's my part in it? Am I involved? Am I not involved? I don't want to be involved, but is there anything going on with that? It just really had me, I developed like a shake, a little quiver in my chest. I was living in fear, being around them, because some of them had weapons. So they both had weapons. So yeah, I just like refused to give them attention like that. I was like, I'm not gonna make my whole season, they're not gonna like hijack my whole season. And I don't want it to be about them. I probably would have been entertaining for you, but not for me. I just didn't want to do that. I guess it could have been a theme. It could have been like the season, like the roommate season. Each episode is like, oh, what are my roommates doing today? I was also worried about like legal stuff. Like, I don't know. My manager was telling me like I should talk about it when it's quieted down or when their legal proceedings are over. And I think they're in the midst of legal proceedings, possibly. I really don't know. But I also hate when people complain about the same thing. Like, I have a friend named Kevin on Facebook, and he's always asking people for rent money every month towards the end of the month. And he's talking about how helpless he is and how he wants to like unalive himself. And he's done it for 10 years. Every month for 10 years, he's been doing that dialogue and complaining about the same things every month. And I want so much more for him than to be stuck on that same record player, that same merry-go-round. And I think he could have a lucrative creative life, but he just refuses to like change his mindset and like learn. Because like it's hard to learn as you get older. I think for myself, it's hard to like just accept that I need to learn more. Even if I think I know everything, I need to like still listen and learn, and he just doesn't do that. But anyways, I don't want to be like him where he's complaining about stuff all the time. But again, I think it really would have been entertaining for you guys if like I did make the season about the roommates and make each episode, it would have been very much like a reality TV show. Yeah. Probably would get a lot more views, I don't know. But I feel weird talking about other people's problems too. Like I felt like I was TMZ for my roommates if I did that. Oh well, I guess maybe that would have been a good idea. I don't know. So yeah, my roommates, I'm about to talk about the roommates and what happened. Okay. By the way, I did talk about the roommates in season 1. There are some episodes where I talk about that. And I will just clarify that in like March to June, we had the male roommate who lived, where am I at? Right here in that door. And we had a female roommate who lived here But the female roommate was a different roommate. She moved out in June. So what I talk about in that season, totally different female roommate. Her name was, I'm going to say Vanessa. Her name was Vanessa. She could have ended up like the future roommate who eventually took her spot, but there was some drama between those two at the time as well, and just him being offended by everything that she did, and Vanessa called the cops on him once. So I think she was probably, in hindsight, similar to the next female roommate that we got. Like, Vanessa was very similar to Beatrice. Beatrice was the next roommate who moved in. Very similar people. I just think if Vanessa had stayed, things may have still ended up how they ended up, where I live alone right now. No, where there was back and forth drama with like calling the police and stuff. I think it still would have ended up the same if she hadn't moved out. I think I'd be in the same situation. And I haven't moved out yet because of, rental properties want 2.5 times the rent, and I only have like 2 times the rent right now. And I would love if LA County would allow that all you need is like 2 times the rent and not 2.5 to 3 times the rent. So that's why I'm still here. Okay, anyways, roommates. My roommate names have been changed. So Dave is the male roommate. Beatrice is a roommate who moved in June. And then Todd is the guy who works in Utah for 8 months, and that's why any of these people are here. Todd is working to make some money. He's hoping to get money from these two for rent. He's hoping to make money at his temporary seasonal job in Utah. That's the whole reason for this. And I'm just here doing comedy, dog sitting, dog walking, doing my podcast, trying to do creative stuff and not focus on these two. But, okay, well, let's get into it. So this guy moves in August 2024, Dave. And my first conversation with him, I had a bad feeling about him. He would talk to me like he talked to me in this kitchen here, talking about how great he is and his job and how he's the best at his job, but he doesn't have friends at his job. And then he did that for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then I started to kind of mention something that I could relate to about what he said, just something conversatey. And he like looked at his phone and then he just like walked away. So that was weird. From then on, I told myself, like, don't talk to Dave. Like, Dave is weird. I talked to my therapist about Dave. Like, this guy, he talks to me like my dad did when I was growing up. My dad would like dump on me for an hour, then like dismiss all my feelings and stuff. And my dad would like trap me in a conversation. That was not a conversation at all. It was just him yelling at me for an hour. He would like trap me there. And that happened up until like I was 34. So this guy kind of did something similar to my dad, and I was like, this is a bad sign. I'm not gonna talk to Dave. I'm gonna be cordial. I'll say hi, but as soon as he starts going into like his work or talking about work, I'm just gonna like get out, be like, oh, hey, let's I have to go, but can we like, pin that? I have to be like a corporate person, an annoying corporate person on Zoom. Like, hey, can we pin that for like a future time? We can like pick up this conversation in the future when I get back. And it turns out Dave, later on we found out, might be doing meth. So that he would have not continued the conversation anyway. So that happened. And then this, again, Vanessa moves out, June. Beatrice moves in to this one over here. And her eyes are weirdly dark. Like, Todd sent a photo saying like, hey, this is gonna be, Todd also doesn't do background checks. And that's the reason why these buffoons were here. Todd himself is also a buffoon who repeatedly makes the same mistakes for 5 or 6 years in a row with bad roommates. But he sent me a photo of Beatrice, and her eyes were oddly dark. I thought like, okay, she has brown eyes, but they were dark in a sinister way, but I just didn't. I was like, April, you're in your head about that. Like, that doesn't mean anything. She had these like manipulative eyes. So that was something, but I just ignored it. Which, if you get bad feelings about people or anything, like my conversation with Dave in the kitchen, don't ignore those. Because, sorry, I want to go back to talking to Dave in the kitchen here. I talked to him in August 2024, that conversation where he looked at his phone and walked away. And then I started looking for apartments right away. I was like, I think it's about time I get out of here. I looked for at 7, maybe 5 or 6 apartments, and then stopped looking because I was like, oh, maybe I'm just like, maybe I'm overreacting and it's gonna be fine. But it turned out not to be fine. Okay. So she moves in. I talk to her. She talks about how she's a victim and stuff. Dave is also very quick to blame other people and reactive and take no responsibility as well. So he's also playing a victim. He also does like the victim thing too. But she was talking about some stuff where she's been a victim of some men in her life, and I felt really bad for her. And everything's great in the apartment. I mean, she's actually really messy from the get-go. Like Vanessa was also messy, and Todd had her like put some of her stuff in storage so that she wasn't bringing so much into the apartment. But yeah, Beatrice, very messy as well. She has 4 cats, adorable cats. No, I have no problems with the cats. They're great. I mean, I actually had allergies, but I was making it work. I was taking allergy medicine. I was doing the nasal thing. I have like a little squirt bottle of like the nasal, clear out my sinuses twice a day. I've been seeing an allergist, and my parents were a big fan of the neti pot when I was younger. We used to have like the actual pot, like the little plastic blue one, and you have to like try to get it up your nose. But I went with the Neilmed squeeze bottle, so much easier. I was boiling water, letting it cool, because you don't want to use tap water with those things. Boiling it, letting it cool, and then giving it like an hour to cool, and then doing the nasal rinse. And it was great, and it was working. Eventually I adjusted to the cats, actually. And anyways, it's going great for about a month. And then Beatrice starts hanging out with Dave to get to know him. They smoke MJ together. They do edibles. And they started staying up late at night. They started, they would start hanging out at like 10 p.m. and not stop hanging out till 8 a.m. And it was just really loud in that room. I heard them having SEX loud one time. Like, they were friends. I think Beatrice wants to like get to know people in a intimate way. She wants to be your friend, but she wants to get to know you like deeper than friendship. Yeah, I heard them having SEX. I heard the TV was loud one night, and I just asked if they could turn it down. And then an hour later, they turned it back up, and I'm like, this is my room. My bedroom's in here. I was sleeping. I'm in a living room with a curtain. The curtains are drawn back right now. Yeah, curtain. And no one's here right now, so I can do whatever the F I want. Until, my main roommate comes back, I guess. So, yeah, there was just I was even playing like on my computer binaural beats that would like push away their energy or get them to shut up. Like I was playing like black onyx, like binaural beats, like different stones. Like I have a friend who's into like witchcraft, and I'm asking her like which stones. I'm like, what stones would be good to like get people to be quiet or like bring peace to the apartment? And she was telling me, and I didn't have the stones, so I played them as binaural beats on YouTube. So that was going on. And I just remember one night, like the first night they hung out, and it was super loud, and they just, I have trouble with confrontation. So I'm really glad I named this episode the Confrontation episode, because it took me a lot of courage to even ask them, like, hey, can you keep it down? Especially Dave, because Dave was scary. Dave was a scarier one to me at the time. I was talking to Beatrice, not scared of her, but Dave was a scary one to me at the time. Just, you know, you get that, like, he had sent me a weird text in April that was very confrontational, and I just was scared of him ever since. One time I had a phone in my hand, and he took my phone in my hand, and he took it out of my hand because he had to call his mom because he had hurt his oh god, that was scary, because he had so that sound is kind of scary because Beatrice's, like, his room was full of, I gotta talk about this later. This is like too soon to talk about this in the timeline of how I want to talk about this. Yesterday, someone came, Todd's brother, Owen, came and cleaned up. I changed his name as well. He came and cleaned up with someone else who was so nice to help clean up. And it was a mess in there. That got cleaned out. Her room got cleaned out. And then her stuff, she still needs to come by and pick up her stuff within a certain time period for the eviction process to be officially done. And her stuff got moved into that room. So I don't know what's in there right now. There's just like bags of stuff, of her stuff in there, and I don't know how they stacked it. So something probably fell. But that's a little scary. Okay, where was I? So I had a speed, just want to explain that sound. If you're wondering, I don't think we have ghosts. I also was concerned that they could come back in after they've left, but the locks have been changed, so I don't think they're back in here, hopefully. I don't see any feet or anything. I just see the shadow of the bags. The big, large, black trash bags of stuff in there. Okay. Anyways, they're hanging out. And I remember, like, one night I just lost so much sleep that the next day I did therapy in my car. I got a boba tea. I have therapy on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. with a therapist I have been with for about 2 years. And I was just so, like, sleep deprived from them having the TV loud and me, like, working up the courage to ask them to turn it down, and they ignored me. And that's, like, a big sore point for me. It's my fear to, like, ask you something and then be turned down. I mean, I guess that's rejection, but I guess I didn't have some of my needs met when I was a kid, and I was afraid to ask. I was dismissed and stuff. But I was crying on my therapy session to my therapist, Leslie, like, hey, I don't know what's going on. They're just keeping, you know, I don't know. I'm so sleep deprived right now. I don't know what's going on. I'm glad. And then I told her, like, you know what? By the end of the session, I said, or the end of the second session, the week after, I forget where, but I told my therapist, Leslie, hey, I'm really glad actually that they're getting along, because it's better that they get along than don't get along. So I can wear earplugs, whatever I need to do, because they hung out, like, for about 2 weeks. They hung out from like 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. for like about 2 weeks, almost every day. And I was just like, okay, they're getting along. That's great. That's better than them fighting. Okay. But kid you not, the next day, I get a text from Beatrice that I was, like, going to a Groundlings improv show or a comedy show to watch, and she said she's barricaded herself in her room to stay safe. And I was like, uh-oh. I didn't ask anything further, but I knew at that point they had, like, severed ties. Dave and Beatrice, something happened, like they had a falling out. And I had, like, warned Beatrice about Dave and how he's just confrontational. He blames people easily. He takes no responsibility for anything he does. You know, it's always someone else did it. And I was just like, watch out for that. And yeah, it turns out they had a falling out. And I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, this is perfect. There's an ambulance. I have very thin windows in this apartment. But yeah, this is the part where they had a falling out. Alarms. Sound the alarms, because on July 11th, 2025, Dave was throwing his like anti-anxiety medication at Beatrice. He was leaving it by her door. He was opening her room, which we're not allowed to go into each other's rooms, but Dave and Beatrice were going into each other's rooms, or at least Dave was going into her room. There's just a lot of like boundary breaking at that point. People went into my room and they're not supposed to. I would say a lot less, but Dave would like open Beatrice's door, put his medication in there. That's not for her. And I think he was actually trying to help her out, but he just didn't do it in a normal way. He did it in a I'm on drugs sort of way, like he's on drugs sort of way. Which I'll tell you why I'm saying that later. Hopefully I get to tell you why I'm saying that. But yeah, they were in the kitchen, and I did a police report on this. So before that happened, Dave was like in his room just after they're falling out, like a day or two later, he was acting like the Joker in an insane asylum. Like if you've read The Killing Joke, he was acting like that Joker from the comic book. I mean, this is my impression of him. I want to do impressions on this podcast, and this is the first one I think I've done. So he was in his room just like crying, but it sounded like a child learning to cry for a play that they're in. He'd be like, oh, she doesn't know she's missing out. And then he would go into laughter suddenly. He'd be like, and he kept playing the song Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, I think, to stay sane. I really like that song. Raindrops keep falling on my head. I heard that song every day for like a week, and it's creepy to me now. I think it was just dealing with like them having a falling out, because apparently he was calling her his girlfriend after like 5 days of knowing her. And but looking back, I kind of think maybe she instigated that. I think now that I know what I know about her and I've looked at her Facebook, I think she was causing her own problems. And like she knows he's reactive, so she was kind of like counting on him to be reactive, and she would like plant stuff for him to react to. Like that's what I noticed may have been going on. I'm not sure, but it sounds like that's what was happening. Anyways, that was a scary time. That song, I will never hear that song differently anymore. Lots of weird stuff going on. I'm trying to remember. There's so much to cover that I'm trying to cover it in a nice, concise way. Oh, so he was playing just music loud that whole day, off and on, like for an hour or two. He played like loud music, like heavy metal, rap, whatever. Emo music, which I love. I love emo music. And it got to be around like 10 p.m. and he started playing a really loud video game. And I thought to myself, okay, I looked up the LA ordinance for like noise, and it said that you can call police on someone for noise disturbance at a certain decibel after 10 p.m. So I thought, okay, if it's after 10 p.m., I'll call the police and just talk to him to turn down the music. Because like, again, I'm afraid to talk to him. He's reactive. At this point, I just think Beatrice is the victim. And he was like, at this point, I think Beatrice is totally innocent and he's like the perpetrator. So I'm even more scared of him. So I didn't want to like, and also I had asked him to turn down their TV the other night, and like a week or two prior, and they didn't. So I'm like, okay, he's not going to do anything I say. So I better just like ask the police to maybe come by and have him turn down the sound, even though he's probably dealing with a breakup. I get it. They were friends, so I'm very confused. I don't know. They weren't like together, but he's dealing with the falling out of whatever they had, this imaginary thing he thought they had together. So, but then I see him assault her with the medicine bottle. He throws it at her in the kitchen, and I just call 911 because I don't want that to escalate into. At that point, she had told me he has weapons in his room. And I'm like, okay, no, I don't want him to like resort to using a weapon in his room next time instead of a medicine bottle. So I just called police. We call police, and then Beatrice presses charges. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. You're pressing charges. I was a witness. We could have gone to court for it, but they probably threw it out. I don't know. We would have gone to court by now because it was July. We probably would have been in court by September, and I would have been a witness for her because I thought I was being this like good Samaritan. I thought I was helping her out. The next day, this is the troubling part. And there's a lot of confusion. Like these two are causing, I think mostly Beatrice, but these two are causing a lot of confusion on like who's telling the truth, who's to blame, what's like a lot of confusion for me and Todd as well. Like Todd's not even here. He probably has no idea what's going on. And I'm like living through it. And Todd calls me on the phone and he says our rent, he said, April, because you called 911, our rent went up $200. So that means your rent goes up by $100. And then Beatrice's rent goes up by $100 because apparently he's paying the most rent. So he doesn't need to pay more. But at the time we were like, wait a minute, his rent should go up if he was throwing stuff at her. Like that's not right. He should also have an increase in rent. I have nothing to do with these two. I'm just trying to help them out. So like my rent going up doesn't make any sense. I've talked to like 20 people about this and they're like, no, it doesn't make sense that your rent goes up. But I took the hit. I need a place to live. So I just paid the $100 increase. If it was like $1,000 or like $500, I need to leave. Like I need to leave. I'm not going to do that. But, and then Todd told me I'm imagining things and whatever I think is going on is not really going on. Like I'm safe here. And I'm like, Todd, you don't do background checks, so I'm not safe. And he told me I don't find good roommates. And that's why he chooses really shitty roommates, because he needs money and he needs to find a roommate right away. And obviously, eventually these two stop paying rent. So he still loses money. Like Todd he can find a roommate quick, but he always loses money on the back end. He always like loses thousands of dollars. It's funny. It's sad and funny. It's just, I think it's better to take your time finding a good roommate who's gonna pay and like give you like this eight month of thousands of dollars surplus of money to pay rent. I think that's the better way to go. It might take a little more time, but anyways, I was very offended because I had found a roommate in 2023. Her name was, let's see. I'm going to use her real name. It's Victoria. I love her so much. She's from Russia. She moved here at 17 to play basketball for high school and college. She works at Barney's Beanery. She's amazing. I just called her employer. I called her former landlord, and I didn't do a background check, but I found out like how she is as a person through those two sources, and she was great. 2023 from like March to September. She lived here 6 months. She was great. And I found another roommate, the same method, in 2022 for about a month or two. She eventually heard voices and had to move back to Hawaii, but I found her through 2 reference checks, and she was great as well. But yeah, my Todd lying to me was heartbreaking. I lost respect for him immediately. Like I really adore Todd, but after that I was like, oh, this guy sucks. I don't know, I can't trust him like ever again. Okay, like he lied about things that didn't happen. So a lot of confusion going on, like these two might be lying. Todd's lying to me now. I didn't feel safe. Like Todd's telling me I'm safe, but I'm like, well, you're lying to me. You're gaslighting me. So obviously I'm not safe. You're telling me I'm passive aggressive when I'm not. I'm just stating what's going on at the apartment, but you're calling that passive aggressive. Todd doesn't know the definition of words. He doesn't know the history of things. He's not good at remembering what happened in the past. So I got to give him credit for that. He's not good at that. Okay. So that's going on. And then just a bunch of stuff from there, like there's so much. I have it written down. I'm trying to remember as much as possible. I mean, there's so much here of what's happened. There's like 3 pages of what's happened. Some of it's not even in here because it happened in the past week. I lost my phone because of this. Like, I was sleeping in my car because of these two. He has weapons in his room. Beatrice is carrying around like a taser. I have a taser as well, but she's carrying around like some weapons like knuckles and like taser. And I mean, we're all just like shaking. We're all just scared of each other. It felt like Lord of the Flies, and I've never even read that book. But I remember dog sitting in July and just listening to a song I never paid attention to in high school that I heard maybe in commercials or like in movies. There's a song by Deftones called Change. It's probably one of their most played songs. But I heard that randomly while staying in somebody's guest house to get away from these two. I had to stay in someone's guest house for a week. And I randomly heard it somewhere on like someone's YouTube video. And I had a flashback to high school. I started longing for senior year of high school. Not even my favorite time of year of my life, but I just started like picturing myself in Mesa, Arizona, walking through my high school again. And I don't know why, just that's a random thing. Like longing for maybe a different time where I didn't feel unsafe maybe. And I've never read the book Lord of the Flies, but I thought, okay, that's probably what's going on here. I read the plot on Google and I was like, okay, that is what's going on here. And then oddly enough, Change by Deftones has a fly theme. It talks about a fly in the music, in the song. So I thought that was strange. But I was definitely like dog sitting. I had stayed with a producer friend in Hollywood, like near the Hollywood Hills. I'd stayed in her guest house because I told her like, hey, I dog sit in about 4 or 5 days. I just need a place to stay where I'm not gonna get stabbed in my sleep because someone has a weapon or whatever they have. Because my room is a curtain, so I just didn't feel safe. And she said I can stay in her guest house. I really so grateful that she let me do that. And then I went and dog sat, and I was just like crying while dog sitting. The day I arrived to dog sit this really cute German Shepherd, I was just like laying in bed crying because I didn't know. I was so confused as to what's going on here. Like Todd's against me. These roommates, Dave might attack me because I called 911 just to protect Beatrice because I thought she was actually in trouble. It was like a really weird time. I talked to a lawyer friend in Bel Air on what to do. He told me a lot of tenants and subtenants have a lot more rights than we realized. He gave me some resources for that. Even Todd has more tenant rights than he probably knows about. Because we have like a slumlord as a landlord, basically, so she doesn't want to fix things. If she can help it. She'll just blame you instead of fixing things, so that's fun. She loves me though, but she probably thinks I'll put up with her shit. So much going on here. One morning I woke up, I was dog sitting a different dog, and I woke up from a text that I had locked out Dave with the chain lock on our door. We have like that a hotel style or motel style chain lock. We have like the regular locks on the door, and then we have like the chain. We have all the things that like a motel would have. And I'm like, hey, I'm dog sitting. It's like 7:30 a.m. I'm like, I did not go over there to lock him out. I am waking up at where I'm dog sitting a block away. So that was really strange. Beatrice has barricaded herself in her room. She's peeing in buckets to avoid, because she says Dave is like monitoring her, and he'll try to talk to her when she walks out. She has to kind of come out in secret. She has to come out to the kitchen and make food in secret to where Dave doesn't know about it and stuff like that. She's living in fear as well. Oh, at some point Dave was putting salt under his door, and Beatrice told me about it. Like, acting like she's a witch or an evil person and trying to put a salt line under this door to like protect him. And it kind of makes sense because later on we found out he might be on drugs, like meth. So, but at the time I was like, oh, okay, like maybe. But I actually got here that day and she had salt in her hand, like a little salt bottle. So I was very confused by that. I don't know if she was doing it or if she found the salt bottle and just had it in her hand, but that was weird. I was like, Beatrice, why do you said he's putting salt under his door, but why do you have the salt? Like, that was really weird. Confusing as hell. I got a text from Beatrice at she decided not to pay rent August 1st and he couldn't pay rent because he was on drugs. He's crazy. He lost his job, got a new job, lost that one. So he had no savings. He would drink 4 tall beer cans, like the big beer cans. He'd drink about 3 or 4 a day. He's a chef. So that doesn't help the situation at all. She's on drugs as well, but I think it's like sleeping pills and I don't know what else. And some sort of maybe, I don't know what else. She's on other medications. They're also smoking weed too, which I like. I like smoking weed. It's fine. I like that. I don't do it anymore, but I used to enjoy that in my life. That's good. But yeah, so she doesn't pay rent August 1st. For some reason, Todd decides that he should turn off her room's electricity and the Wi-Fi, which is in my room. And I told Todd, like, that Wi-Fi better be on when I get back. My whole concern was the Wi-Fi. Out of all this, eventually my concern was like, hey, Todd, you want me to come back to the apartment that I'm paying for and enjoy it while feeling threatened by these two? That's hard. But eventually I did come back. But I should have asked him to turn on the Wi-Fi. I think he was thinking turning off the Wi-Fi would get them to move out, which it didn't at all. I told my mom about it too. I go, Todd turned off the Wi-Fi at our apartment in hopes that it would get the roommates to move out. And my mom said, oh, that's a good idea. And I told her like, oh, it's been like a month or 2 and they haven't moved out. And she's like, oh yeah, that's not good. And then it turns out it's a misdemeanor to turn off the Wi-Fi. So there's an LA law. It's like penal code. I don't even know. Do I have it in here? Penal code something. 591, something like that. There's a penal code where you can't cut off communication of your tenants or subtenants. You can't turn off their communication method. You can't turn off the Wi-Fi that they're paying for. So yeah, it's a small claims court thing, but can result in a few $1,000s in fines. Todd had the Wi-Fi off for about, let's see, I have it on here. He turned it off. Turn it off. He had the Wi-Fi turned off from August 1st to just yesterday. It got turned back on, so about 2 months it was off. And the whole thing about the Wi-Fi thing, I actually lost my phone at an AMC movie theater, and I was trying to get out more, hang out with friends, get away from this apartment, but I was so shaky and just pretending that everything's fine that my mind I somehow lost my phone. I think it fell out of my pocket into the seat. It's still at the theater. They haven't found it yet. Like, no one's taken it. No one's stolen it. My iPhone, Find My Phone, is still showing it at the theater. I was just so like jumpy and stressed out and living in fear that I lost my freaking phone. Right before going to Arizona, I was traveling to Arizona 2 days later, so I was like frantically trying to order a new phone. I had a backup phone, an iPhone 7. I lost an iPhone 12. I had an iPhone 7, I just happened to have it. I was like doing so many drives to like Carson, to the Walmart there, to try to get my Walmart Family Mobile back. And then I eventually just drove to Huntington Beach to go with T-Mobile because my friend Jose works there and he set me up. And I'm like, Jose, I travel tomorrow. I just need, the Walmart Family Mobile, they don't have the right, in the store in Walmart, they don't have the correct, I spent $24 buying the wrong SIM card because like the people there didn't know which one I was supposed to buy. They were like, yeah, buy this one, and then it ended up being the wrong one. It was for Verizon instead of like a GSM phone. So I spent money I didn't need to spend because of this phone. And just the confusion of this apartment and just the being on edge being here and trying to avoid being here as much as possible. It was really sad here. Like the energy was so damp and dark and sad. The vibes were haunting and it felt like prison here. It felt like, yeah, we all could attack each other at any moment or something. I wouldn't attack them, but like someone was gonna attack somebody. Super dark cloud in here. Yeah, anyways, it took to get my phone back. I have an iPhone 13 now that I got off eBay, but I spent a lot of money. I spent about $440 setting this up, getting my phone back. It was a rough time. So lost my phone. I needed Wi-Fi that night, the night I lost it. So I asked like Todd to turn it back on. He said no. And I'm like, wow, that's weird, because if I get attacked, like I was afraid I was gonna get killed, honestly, by Dave. And that Todd would be responsible for it because he let Dave live here. That's what I was afraid of. I was like, Todd, if I die tonight and I can't call 911 because my iPhone 7 isn't set up as a phone yet, my backup phone isn't set up as a phone right now. I mean, I'm like, my blood is in your hands. Like, you're responsible for this. That's the reason why. But Todd's not smart. Todd is dumb as fuck. I love him, but he is fucking stupid. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so the Wi-Fi finally got turned on yesterday after being off for 2 months. Oh, while in Arizona, I get a call from the landlord of this building, and she asked if I was there, and I said no. And also, Todd doesn't want me talking to you, so I can't tell you anything. But it turns out, I think that night, like I got back from Arizona a few days later. That night, they had attacked each other with mace. And then Beatrice went to jail for a few days because he pressed charges. He was coming at her, like, he kept saying, like, when I was here, he would say baby killer through the door, because I guess she told him she was pregnant, and then she told him she wasn't pregnant because she had it checked. And then, yeah, so he would say baby killer because he thought she got an abortion, or maybe she told him she got an abortion. I don't know what she told him, because she would only show me text screenshots of what she wanted to show me. I don't know what she was sending to him to like instigate it. I don't know. To instigate his reactions, because he is reactive. But I got a call while on a dog walk from a police officer, and that's scary. I don't want to talk to police, but I like them, but that's not a good thing. By the way, at this point, this was in September. At this point, they had called police on each other maybe 2 or 3 times since the first time I did. So it's like, I called 911 because I thought Beatrice was a victim and I was protecting her, but also because I was going to do it because of the noise thing that night. But that was my original intention. But then I was like, okay, they called police on each other maybe 5 more times total, or maybe 4 more times. So like, I think they would have called police on each other anyways. Like, it didn't matter that I did. I'm not the one I don't like calling police for anything. That's not my style. Okay, so Officer Williams of the LA Police Department called while I was on a dog walk to ask about Beatrice and Dave and how they were as people. And then he just mentioned like, yeah, they need to be separated. They're like probably the same person. And they just need to be separated. And then eventually Dave gets a restraining order against Beatrice. So then I was actually doing groundlings. I think I went to a show. No, actually, I was in class. I was either in class for basic, like one of our last classes, or I had gone to a show. I was coming back and I see police officers waiting outside, and I'm like, okay, what else is new? Because she came back from jail. She had a temporary hold in jail for a few days after macing him. And I come back and I see them outside. I go, do you guys, I'm like, are you here for my apartment number? I said my apartment number, and they said, yeah, we're here for that. And then I said, okay. And then the police officers are like, actually, we're waiting to go up in the elevator. We can't get in the lobby. Can you let us in? And I'm like, oh, you've been like waiting outside the whole time? Yeah, I'll let you in. And yeah, they took Beatrice because of Dave's restraining order. They took Beatrice out. And she hasn't been back since. Her stuff is in that room if she wants to pick it up. Yeah. So she has, and it got dramatically more, 50% more peaceful after she left. So, and then I started realizing like, oh, I mean, she left a big mess in there, like a hoarder's paradise. Like if you imagine everything on Hoarders, the show, was in that one room, just tons of stuff. Like she stole my candle. Someone stole my candle. I assume it was her. I had a Phoenix candle. I shouldn't have left it out, but it's right. It was sitting here on this table. It's a discontinued Phoenix homesick candle. I got off eBay for $35 and it's gone. And actually it might be in her stuff. I don't know. I'm hoping she left it in that room and they found it, and the people who cleaned up found it, and it's just in one of those bags, but I cannot find that candle, guys. Like I got the last one that exists. I've checked eBay. I got the candle 2 or 3 years ago, about 2 years ago, and I haven't seen it on eBay since. So a moment of silence for that candle. I know it's just stuff, but I miss, my hometown. And she's not even, this is the funny part, she's not even from Arizona. Whoever took it, he's from Virginia. She's from Hesperia, California, or somewhere up in northern California. I'm like, you're not even from Arizona. Like, you don't deserve that candle. You need to give it back. I hope they're enjoying that candle, whoever has it. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. So, but if you're on drugs, nothing makes sense, right? Nothing makes sense. Yeah, so the aftermath, eventually he actually just left a couple days ago because it was like 2 months of him not paying rent. So he left with like a suitcase, like a little duffel bag suitcase. And there's so much. He would actually complain that she's messy, which I agree, because she left dishes in the sink for 2 weeks and they were gathering bugs. And she has really cool plates. She had like skull plates. They were really cool. She left that in there for 2 or 3 weeks. And while she lived here, she was letting that, it's like she knew, like she wasn't going to pay rent because she got assaulted apparently with the medicine bottle, which I think she instigated, actually, looking back. Now that I know more information and I've studied her Facebook, I'm like, oh, she probably instigated this. It was really disgusting. It was so stinky. I'm like, I don't want to live like this. I was like, I miss living alone. One time I left dishes in the sink for 3 days at my first duplex in Mesa, Arizona. Started to get a little stinky, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to do dishes. I didn't have a dishwasher or anything, but I was like, okay, I need to like hand wash these. Like, I can't be leaving these here for 3 days. I recognized the smell, but it was way worse. It was just like accumulating bugs. I mean, as it is, like after they're not here anymore. So after they left, my candle's missing. His room had poop smeared all over the bathroom. His closet has gnats growing in it. So they're gonna fumigate the apartment in a few days. My Owen, Todd's brother, is gonna fumigate the apartment. So I won't be here for that. I'll probably be gone the whole day as much as possible, while we open all the windows and doors and clear it out. He had over 200 beer cans in there because he had he drank like 3 or 4 of these big beer cans. So it was just like, I mean, they took out like 5 bags of beer cans, just beer cans. Sorry. There was like beer on the floor, under the rugs. The poop part though, I mean, you gotta be on drugs to do that. There's Q-tips everywhere, which was really weird. Q-tips everywhere, like random Q-tips would just, like before he left, he did leave the kitchen trashed with just, the stove was all messy, stuff on the floor, a big pile up of trash, just random like dried, like he's messy, like him complaining about her being messy, turns out he's also messy. And I think he would complain about other people because he does that thing that he doesn't like in other people, and he's just not self-aware about that. There's some sort of like liquid on the counters he left, like old grape juice or juice, like strawberry juice, some sort of pink stuff. Yeah. The fridge is a mess. When she left, she stole all the pans. So for some reason she stole Todd's bed, or she stole something like that. And then I think I can't tell if his bed is in there or not. Something about he possibly stole her bed. I don't know if that's been denied or confirmed yet. She stole like as much as she could from the kitchen. Like she stole one of my Amazon packages too, of oatmeal. And yeah, she stole all the pans. What else did she steal? Or Dave stole it. I don't really know. And he's blaming her, but she already has so much stuff. Like I'm like thinking, did she get all that stuff by stealing it from other places where she lived? That's what I like started realizing. Like, yeah, maybe all the hoarding she does is because she's stolen stuff from other people's apartments where she's lived and gotten kicked out of. She truly thinks she's a victim, which I think she partially is a little bit. And I think she has ADHD, like she says, but I think they both start their own problems. Like they both cause their own problems, and I wish they knew that. You guys cause your own problems. If you're watching this, you cause your own problems. Todd does as well. Todd sent me a photo of his room with all of like Beatrice's hoarding stuff in there, and he thought she stole his bed, which I don't think she actually did. And I'm like, Todd, I have no empathy for you because you cause your own problems. You choose bad roommates and you do this to yourself. You are a child. He called me a child, so he's actually the child. I think people say things to other people because they are that thing. Like, he told me I need to be an adult. And I'm like, no, Todd, you need to be an adult and choose better fucking roommates and do a background check. There, fixed it. It's all fixed now. I wish I had said that to him on the phone, but you know, I just want a place to live, so anyways. Tired of people's, I felt like the parent here. Like I'm the parent of Todd, Beatrice, and this Dave, because they're all fucking crazy. Todd's a little less crazy. I think he's just trying to help other people and get money out of them. Like he's just hoping to help someone. Like Todd's the reason I'm here. I had to move out last minute of where I was at, and he took me in without a background check, so that worked out in my favor. But he has chosen 4 bad roommates since then. 4. Yeah, we had one in 2022 that wasn't good, and one in 2024 he was doing drugs, so he just isn't good at choosing roommates. So Owen's gonna help him choose roommates now, which I really appreciate. Because Owen's like sick. I assume Owen, his brother, Todd's brother, is sick of cleaning up after Todd's mistakes. Because Todd will choose a roommate, then go out of town, not have to deal with the roommate, and then pretend he's a victim of his own choice. So yeah, Owen's been through a lot. His brother is always cleaning up after Todd and like trying to save his ass. So I feel bad for Owen. All right, well, let's see what else. There was apparently meth pipes found in Dave's room. I don't know if that's true. Someone threw them away though. The person helping Owen clean up threw them away. But I wouldn't be surprised because he was so like, Dave would be coherent and then he wasn't. I thought it was just the alcohol, but yeah, drugs will, like the really bad drugs will make you really random and inconsistent. There was, in Beatrice's room, there was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, like, smashed into the, like, random peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that she forgot about because it would fall and, like, get stuck under her hoarding stuff, and it was, like, smashed into the ground, into the wood. These are wood floors, so just a shit show. Like, literally shit. He's got smeared shit in the bathroom. Like, I would not touch shit. You gotta be crazy to touch your own shit, you know? Unless you're doing a poop test to see if you're healthy at the doctor's office. Or if you're doing one of those poop tests where you have to, like, put a paintbrush on your poop and put it on the little card and then seal it and then mail it in and see, like, how's your health? That, I've done those. But yeah, you gotta be crazy to touch your own shit or pick your shit up with, like, a paper towel and, like, smear it. That's insane. So yeah, that's what I've been going through. Not much, you know? It's a lot, guys. Like, as soon as, like, they were officially gone, I, like, cried. Not a lot, because I'm still very apathetic from living in LA, but, because I still think they're here. Like, like, when I got to be here alone for the first night on the 1st of October, that night I got to be here alone, and it was still, like, a big mess. It's still messy, but all their stuff was still in there at the time, and I still thought, like, hey, apparently they left their keys. I think Beatrice still has her keys, but Dave doesn't have his keys anymore. But I'm thinking, like I was gone for some of that day, and I come back at night, and I'm still thinking as I'm sleeping in my room, like, are they here? Like, is one of them still here and they're just being, like, super quiet in the room? I was just, like, scared. And then I think yesterday, after they cleaned, Owen and another guy cleaned up the other rooms, I cried. I was just like, I'd be, like, randomly doing stuff in the apartment. I was cleaning up. I was doing some cleanup as well in the kitchen. I just, like, randomly start crying because there was, like, just so much pressure built up between July, especially when Beatrice was here, she left early September. Between, like, July and September, there's so much pressure built up in here. It was like a ticking time bomb. And so when she left, some of that pressure was relieved. But yeah, I want to live alone. So, I'm reaching out to people. I've been looking for an apartment since August 2024, but I stopped September 2024. And when things started getting weird with them, I started looking at apartments again in, like, August, but not really successfully. I looked at an apartment a few days ago. I think the price isn't there for me yet. There's someone who has a guest house that I used to live in Burbank in 2020. He might let me move in, I don't know. But I want to give Todd notice of when I'm moving out, even though I'm allowed to, because this place was so unsafe. There's a tenant rights website where you can actually give 14 days notice to move out instead of the 30-day notice that Todd wants. So there's and it states the law that lets you do that. So I almost did that, but I need more time to find a place. I really want to live alone again. That's my goal. I'm afraid of going into another subtenant situation and being in this situation again. And I'm just disappointed in Todd. I really like him as a person, but he just let me down. I kind of knew that he didn't do background checks because, again, I got in here without a background check, but I didn't know how bad it would be. I just thought, like, oh, okay. I didn't know that he, like, it took me a few years to realize he consistently chooses people who fuck him over. It's like he wants to lose money on purpose. I don't know what it is. Todd is hell-bent on losing money by choosing bad people. And I get the desperation to find a roommate because you want to bring money in, but he's losing more money than he's getting by choosing bad roommates. I'm learning from Todd. I'm learning don't choose bad people if you can. I'm learning to not choose roommates at all. I lived alone in Mesa and in Burbank and Los Feliz for about 5 years total between those places, and maybe about 6 years. And yeah, I think it's just, for me, what works is living alone. The only thing about living alone is, like, I could die and no one knows it. I could get locked out and I have to contact a landlord to come rescue me, or There's some like definitely advantages to living with another roommate. You know, like if you, like Dave would leave the oven on all the time. Like he would go to work at like 2 p.m., leave the oven on for like 8 hours. I came back at like 10 p.m. one time from dog sitting. That oven, I knew his like work schedule pretty much at that time when he had a job. And I was like, oh my God, this has probably been on since like at least 3 p.m. He left, he would leave burners on. I mean, I could have been gassed from that gas stove so many times. We all could have died so many times. Todd was on his case about it. And I think he was on drugs. Everything Todd did, like if he was doing meth, and like one time I heard his mom on the phone begging him to get back on his medication, or Beatrice heard that and she told me, I don't know. I feel bad for Dave's mom. Jesus Christ. She has a terrible son who's on drugs. And, you know, if you can't get off drugs, that sucks. Wow. All right. I think I covered as much as I could. I knew it would go over an hour. It feels good that I'm able to tell you guys why this season 2 had, like, different themes for each episode so I could avoid talking about all this. All right. And I'm still paying, like, the thing that gets me is like I'm paying rent on time for almost 5 years. This November is 5 years. But we have these terrible roommates and I'm like being punished for being on time with my payments. It fucking sucks. That part. So Todd has like betrayed me. Like I know like we're friends, but I know it's more of like a tenant subtenant transaction between us. We're friends, not like necessarily best friends, but I know that we kind of have this like, yeah, transactional relationship, but still like just to hurt someone who's paying on time and not have Wi-Fi on. And Todd does so many things that don't make sense and they don't work. Things he does do not work, but he thinks they do. So Todd's on drugs. He smokes weed, but yeah, maybe it's the drug brain where you think what you're doing makes sense, and everyone around you is like, no, that makes no sense. What are you doing? I still miss weed. I don't smoke as much, but I still miss it for like creative writing. I do miss it for that. All right. Well, if there's anything to learn from this, by the way, I do have a section on like, what have I learned? How do you find it? So I have a section on my sheet called like how to find a good roommate. And well, you do 2 referral checks, not 1. I did 1 referral check with Dave with like an old landlord he had. And he just said, Dave is messy. But Dave's landlord, when I called, sounded really scared to talk about Dave. Like he sounded flustered, like he didn't know what to do with Dave. But he's like, when I called Dave's landlord, he responded with, yeah, just tell him to clean up after himself. He's messy. You're gonna have to remind him a lot. Like that's all he said. And I was like, okay, maybe Dave is okay. And then I wished for Dave, he had given us 2 references. Dave actually found Beatrice and got approved by Todd to let her move in. Todd has never met Beatrice, but she's very similar to Todd in certain ways, like the things that they're into and some of the things that they talk about. It's really weird. Beatrice reminds me of Todd. Beatrice, probably way more manipulative though. Todd thinks he's manipulative, but he's not. I think he's just a little dumb, or a lot dumb. But I wish we had done referral checks on Beatrice. So yeah, I suggest if you're trying to find a roommate, and this is for me as well, I've done the two minimum referral checks: landlord, workplace, and if you want to do a third, maybe an enemy that they know, like a friend, a best friend, and ask them all the tough questions like, hey, what's the worst trait about this person? What do you hate about this person? If you guys had a falling out, what was it over? Like, ask the really hard questions. But that would be if you don't want to do background checks. But if you want to do background checks, which I suggest after all this, that Todd has to pay for because he's dumb. For me, if I had to have a roommate, I would pay the $30 background check because I know it's going to save me money on the back end. Background checks, I guess, show you, I don't know for sure, but I guess they show you if someone pays on time, which you could also ask for if you do 2 referral checks. You can ask somebody, like Victoria, when she moved here in 2023, I asked her, can you send proof that you've paid on time for a year at your former apartment? And she did. And then I was like, okay, great. It doesn't look photoshopped, so yeah, okay, great, this is good. And she was awesome. She even drank a lot. Well, she worked at a bar. She had like a wine fridge. She was all about wine, and she would drink after work at like 3 a.m. She's still like the best roommate ever. Still the best roommate we've had. I had no problems with her. She's respectful. I think it's just respect. You gotta find someone that's gonna respect the space and respect everyone around them. These two have no respect for anyone. Beatrice might a little bit. I think if they showed respect at all, it was a manipulation tactic to like get you to like them. It wasn't like, because they showed no respect. They would show respect once in a while, but mostly no respect for anyone or the space. And again, I think it's drugs or personality disorder, actually. He's a Scorpio, she's a Libra. It's got to be that. I'm just kidding. I think it's personality disorder. There's something going on there. But yeah, that's so 2 referral checks. Find out if they pay up. Have them prove to you that they pay on time for at least a year or 6 months or however long you want. And then if you don't want to do that, just spend the $20 to $50 for a background check. Because like poor Todd, it's going to cost him $1,000 or more because he didn't even get a deposit from one of these people or 2 of them. It's causing them thousands of dollars. Okay, so I'm really glad I got to share my experience and what I went through since July with you guys. Thank you for sticking with the podcast this long. I'm a nice person, but when I have something to say that's important, I get very mean about it. All right, so we have a viewer question. I get very mean about it, meaning like I get very like, hey, this has gone on long enough. I need to tell you that you need to stop doing this. Like you need to stop putting everyone in danger. Like things for my life, like I don't say anything until it builds up. And then I'm like, hey, like I'm gonna say something really important to you right now and you better listen. Because I'm sick of going through this experience. Okay, so that's how I am as a person. Okay, viewer question. Today's question is from Brandon with an I, in Scottsdale, Arizona. What is something you want to do so bad that you've never tried before? Buy a house and live alone. That's actually not the answer. What I wrote, that is an answer. I think we all want that. But I wrote down, have sex again, fall in love again, at least one more time in my life. Not necessarily both of these things with the same person. It doesn't have to be. It has been 15 years since any of this has happened. I'm not popular with the guys. Okay, that's what I wrote. I have upcoming comedy shows, which I mentioned at the beginning. There's a comedy show tonight at Comedy Chateau, but I'm going to post this on Sunday. So it's not worth mentioning the one tonight. Although if you go tonight, today's Friday, and I'm just so happy that you went. It's October 3rd. Thank you for going. Comedy Chateau, 7:30 p.m. Okay, so my next show, though, is on October 19th at the Comedy Chateau. I'm not sure which show it is. Check my website. It's on there. So October 19th at Comedy Chateau. And then October 22nd at Tribal Cafe. In LA, near Echo Park. That one's a free one. Comedy Chateau, all my Comedy Chateau shows, if you want a free ticket, you just type my name in all caps, APRIL, all caps. Promo code, it'll get you a free ticket. You can get 5 of them, you can get 10 of them, however many you want. Bring your friends, your family. You do have to pay for at least 1 or 2 drinks though, or food. which if you ever want me to cover that for you, I really can't, but I'm willing to, so let me know. Also, if you're a comedy club or comedy show booker, if you're a comedy club booker or comedy show booker in Los Angeles, please book me. I will do your comedy show. Yes. And then go to aprilwalterscheid.com for comedy shows to sign up for my email list. If you want my email address to email me, then yeah, please do that. I do have one ask for you guys. So this is the last episode of season 2. I only do 9 episodes because I'm born on the 9th. And yeah, that's the reason. So I want to do season 3 of this podcast in an actual podcast studio, but they're about $150 per hour for like video and sound and I think editing. That's like the minimum price. I researched it. I think the lowest is $150. It goes up from there. So I've checked out all the podcast studios that I can in LA and they start at $150. So I want to do 9 episodes starting November 2nd, 2025. And I would love if you've been following me on my Instagram, my YouTube, if you've been listening to this episode or even season 1 and you've gone through to season 2 to this episode, I would love if you donated money so I can do a podcast in a studio and make it really cool and crisp looking and not have to do it in my room. Do it in a cold podcast studio. That's my dream. It'll look really nice. I don't want to dip into my own money. I can, but my manager said it's probably not wise right now to do that. But my goal is to raise $1,350 because 9 times $150 equals $1,350 for the whole season. I would only use it for that. I have my own savings to pay for everything else, so don't worry about that. I won't have to dip into it for anything else. If you do want to help out, my Venmo is, please Venmo me at venmo.com/April- which is the -sign, Walterscheid. So venmo.com/April-Walterscheid. Last 4 digits of my phone number, if you need it, are 8846. I have a fake mustache in the photo on Venmo. So even if you don't donate, just go to my Venmo and like look at my photo. I have a mustache in there. So venmo.com/April-Walterscheid. Just look at the mustache photo. It's really funny to me. It's from 2020 during the pandemic. I was smoking a lot of weed. When you send money, make sure to add the note. Like add a little note so I know what it's for. Like, okay, podcast studio. You could say no spring chicken. You could say for season 3 of your podcast, whatever you want to say, just so I know it's for that. And you don't have to donate $150. If you have the money, great. If you don't, you can donate $20, $5, $1, whatever you want. If anything, maybe I could raise enough money to do at least 1 episode in a podcast studio. I would love the whole season to be in a podcast studio, but maybe I raise $150 and I get to do it at least 1 episode in a podcast studio and I just choose which one it is. I'll add the link to my Venmo down below, by the way. And, I'm also open to your feedback on this podcast. Again, if you've been like an avid listener or follower of my YouTube channel, my Instagram, if you've listened to this podcast, especially if you've listened to this podcast and you're a fan and you've listened from season 1 to season 2, let me know what you want to see on season 3. I'm open to feedback. You can comment on this video. Let me know what you want to see. I'm doing this podcast. I was doing this podcast at first because my manager told me to do it because I was posting in my Instagram stories and letting those stories die off. And my manager said, hey, like stop posting in your stories, only post about your comedy shows and your email list, but start putting like everything you talk about in your stories into a podcast. And I was like, okay. But now, since you all are watching, I've started, like, you're the reason I'm here. The fact that people keep watching this podcast and commenting and asking me questions to answer on the podcast it lets me know that you're here and you're invested, and I wouldn't be here or doing stand-up comedy without you guys, so thank you. So yeah, comment below on what you like about this podcast, what you want to see more of for season 3. I would love if you did that. And I just want to thank you guys for watching season 1, season 2, this episode, which is the end of season 2. Thank you guys for buying boba teas and popping our tops. We pop our tops, which I didn't start doing until like, I had a boba for every episode, but I started doing the pop top, episode 6. So if you like that we do the boba top at the beginning, we pop our boba tops. I want to make that a t-shirt. Let's pop our boba tops. No spring chicken with April Walterscheid. If you like that we do that, I will keep doing that in season 3. Like, let me know below. Like, say, hey, April, in the comments. April, I love that you do the boba pop at the beginning. I've been getting a boba as well, and I love popping my boba with you. And then sitting back and listening, or doing my laundry on a Sunday and listening, or driving around my city, driving around the city, listening, whatever you do. It's just great that I get to share this time with you, and I don't even see you, but I know you're all there. And yeah, I'm gonna take about a month off. Let's raise money for me to do this in a podcast studio. Let's raise enough money for at least 1 or 2 episodes. And I'll be back November 2nd, after Halloween, so I can talk about Halloween. Because I might dress up, so. Until season 3, guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna miss you for a month. I'm gonna miss you guys. Have a great month. Bye. Mwah.